Good afternoon, welcome to the wonderful Valencia circuit. Here we are just a few kilometres really from the Valencia city centre. Welcome to the circuit Ricardo Tormo, this 4-kilometre circuit which forms the opening round of the 2017 Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell. We will also visit Monza, Budapest, Le Castellet, Silverstone in the UK, Imola, and then the glittering world final races, the Finale Mondiale, to come at the end of October in Mugello. What a phenomenal location this is for a circuit. We're bathed in beautiful sunshine and bathed in beautiful Ferrari 488s, which are going to do battle on this circuit in just a few moments' time. Fantastic heli shot showing you the location of this circuit. There you can see the 3 sectors. The track contains some 14 turns, 9 left, 5 right, and a goodly number of spectators to enjoy the race action here in Valencia as well. All new for 2017 then, as we welcome the 488 as the challenge car. It's the 6th challenge car, and it's the first ever challenge car to feature a turbocharged power plant, 3.9 litre V8 turbocharged. What a car it is. And the very first challenge car was the 348. And since then we've had some 6 cars. As we look at Claudio Schiavone, who's going from P2 on the grid. Claudio Schiavone for Kessel Racing, and made his debut in the Ferrari Challenge last year, and looked very, very potent in qualifying. Sadly was pipped to the pole position by Johnny Lawson, who we'll see in just a few moments' time. And there you can see the 160 car. Here's the grid in full for you then. Johnny Lawson, Claudio Schiavone, then across the front row. Then it's Eric Chung and Rick Lovett. Murat Kuhadaroglu goes from P5 with Fons Skeltermar in P6 on the grid. So that's the first 3 rows rounded out for you already, and dominance there from Kessel Racing. Herney goes from P7, Christian Kinch is P8, then it's Manuela Gosner, the first of the lady racers. We have 3 of them in the race: Eric Prinot, Thomas Gosner and Tanny Hanna. Round out rows 4 through to 6, and then it's Ingvar Madsen, Vladimir Hladek, Tommy Lindroth, Deborah Mayer, Peter Gurk and David Lim then on the rows 7 through to 9. And then it's Tina Koch then, another lady racer, bringing up the rear. There is the Rick Lovett car then, the Canadian racer that is going from P4 on the grid. Great to see Rick Lovett back again, racing in the Coppa Shell. Race to come. So a little snapshot of the area and of this fantastic circuit. And a great position in qualifying for this man, Johnny Lawson then, who goes from P1 on the grid, the Formula Racing driver. Johnny Lawson then goes from pole position. Claudio Schiavone alongside. We've already seen the car of 102, which will be on the front row as well. Best of the lady racers then is Manuela Gosner, who's a very busy lady when it comes to racing at the moment, not only racing in the Ferrari Challenge, but some other categories as well. And the best of the ladies going from P9 on the grid, Manuela Gosner, who, a belated happy birthday. It was her birthday just yesterday, so belated happy birthday to you, Manuela Gosner, going from P9 on the grid. And there, what a great shot from up high on the grid assembled, and another shot of the grid assembled here. Let's hear from Fons Skeltermar, then one of the drivers on the grid.
My name is Fons Skeltermar. I'm already a long time in the Ferrari Challenge. I think for the people with the noise, so many years, 12 years now. We have got the new car, the 488. Unbelievable, what a difference, what a car. And I still enjoy it. And I'm happy to be here in Valencia, start of the season 2017. coming here, back to the paddock and in Valencia here on the track, it's a relief. I can leave all my sorrows at home, and here I meet friends with the same, how do they call it in Italian? Emozione. And I think, you know, to be here to relax, to talk the same language with each other, talking about, of course, Ferrari and the other things, it's very nice. And I'm back here and I'm very happy to be here again. For me, driving with Ferrari, I told the guys a couple of times, it's a boy's dream. And still, every time when I jump into that car, a new car now again, it's something special. Great. You have to try it. See you soon.
And there is the man and his car on the grid, Fons Skelterma, that we were hearing from there. And a very nice invitation from Fons Skelterma. It's his 10th season in Ferrari Challenge. He thought 12, but actually it's 10. We did the counting for you, Fons, but great to have him back on the grid again. He is one of those phenomenal characters, and his car is always denoted by the shark's teeth, which remain on the car for this year. Another one of the lady racers is Deborah Meyer, racing for Kessel. And Deborah has qualified that car P16 on the grid. So Deborah Meyer, thumbs up from her ahead of the first of the Coppa Shell races for season 2017. And this is the circuit that is named after that legend, Riccardo Tormo. And there, what a fantastic sight. And as Fons mentioned, all new 488 cars that they're driving, and it's just great to be back in the paddock. And I have to say that that applies to everyone that's involved in the Ferrari Challenge. Just feels like coming home almost. Another one of the lady racers is Tina Koch, then racing for the Formula team, going from P19 on the grid. And there you can see Beppe Scanetti on the right-hand side of your screen, just affixing his crash helmet. He is the official safety car driver, and we're on board with Eric Chung, and that's what it's looks like from P3 on the grid. And he'll be looking to elevate himself up the order, going through the early turns here at the Valencia circuit. The race is coming soon. Race duration 30 minutes then, in some beautiful temperatures, track conditions absolutely perfect. And looking on board from the Fons Skelterma car, we heard from him just a few moments ago, and he's going from P6 on the grid, and hoped for more out of qualifying, to be honest, but just couldn't quite get it all together. Going from P6, he has Kuhardaruglu, Lovett, Chung, Schiavone and Lawson all ahead of him. So we await the safety car. In 1 minute, it will leave the grid, and then the cars will follow on their formation lap. Always a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge, and all the social media within which you can be involved with Ferrari Challenges at the top of your screen right now. So, engineers leaving the grid. Sense of anticipation and excitement for the drivers grows, as it does for the spectators here at Valencia. Also, it's the first race in Coppa Shell. Coppa Shell is made up generally of amateur, gentlemen and lady racers. But some jolly good racing we've experienced over the years in Ferrari Challenge from those Coppa Shell drivers. Looking backwards from the safety car, as cars are released now to complete their formation lap. The Hublot safety car then around this circuit. And then into shot come the cars, weaving from side to side to try and generate some temperature into those Pirelli tyres.
I'm very happy to be here, and I'm really happy to be in the pole position. It's my first time in Challenge after some years in Le Mans here, so I'm really excited to get started.
That split screen then revealing our pole sitter Johnny Lawson then, clearly very happy with his qualifying, giving him pole position. As you say, he's been racing in the Le Mans series and makes his debut in the Ferrari Challenge, and what a way to have done so by setting pole position. So the cars now making their way towards turns 7 and 8. So here comes turn number 8, which the cars will brake for now, and Christian, one of the driver coaches, looking on. There is Claudio Schiavone. Heading up towards turn number 12 now, which is this little kink, sometimes taken absolutely flat. The Chapi Herreros turn, and then the long sweeping turn 13 before heading through turn 14, which is Adrian Campos. Now, cars all grid up behind the safety car then, and it will be the responsibility of those that are on the front row of the grid, Johnny Lawson and Claudio Schiavone, to maintain the rolling start. Stand by, here comes the start of race 1 in Coppa Shell. Lights go green and away we go and racing. Keep an eye on Rick Lovett diving through the middle of the pack. And Rick Lovett could find himself in P2 before turn number 1. And he does it. He manages to put it on P2. A lot of the cars run wide. We've got a spinner there. I think that's Manuel Agostina that has gone around. Might be wrong, just trying to pick up that car. Florian Merckx then from Baron Service looks on. Tommy Lindroth, one of his drivers out there at the moment. And indeed it was Manuel Agostina that spun around. Thankfully she's back and running okay. We were into the Kessel garage just for a moment then. But it's Johnny Lawson that leads, and then it is Kessel driver Rick Lovett who just dived like a hot knife through butter through the pack right at the start of the race from row 2 on the grid, and finds himself in P2. Claudio Schiavone in P3, and then it's Eric Chung and von Skeltermar. So this the opening lap of the Coppa Shell race in the Ferrari Challenge, and Philip Barron there looks on as well, and a cheeky little wave to the live television cameras. So turn number 1 is a little bit of a pinch point. You run downhill into turn number 1, and doubtless at some stage we'll get a replay to find out exactly what happened to Manuel Agostina, who now finds herself a lot further back in the order than she would like to be. So there is our race leader, Johnny Lawson, then, who completes the first lap jolly near, runs very wide through turn number 14. It will be acceptable on the first lap, but race stewards will keep an eye on those track limits. So Lawson leads with a 1.4 second margin already over Rick Lovett. Then it is Claudio Schiavone, Eric Chung, von Skeltermar, Murat Kuhar-Daruglu, then it's Ernie Kinch and Vladimir Haladik, with Tani Hanna rounding out the top 10. And making a move there, Eric Chung. So Eric Chung, having got past Claudio Schiavone, now finds himself P3. Claudio Schiavone is relegated and is now going to be relegated still further as von Skeltermar really lights up and sharpens those shark's teeth on the front of his car. We go live on board with him right now. So von Skeltermar chasing down Claudio Schiavone. Great onboard shot that we can bring you. You can almost feel those rumble strips. We can certainly hear them. And whilst they're all battling behind, Johnny Lawson is just quietly going about his business and putting himself a margin of some 1.5 seconds. So Manuel Agostina was involved with a problem with the Kessel driver Peter Gerg right at the very start, and that is under investigation by the race control team. So we'll keep our eyes on that. We're on board with Eric Chung now, who's chasing down the Canadian racer Rick Lovett, who is currently in P2. He was the one that made a lightning start, really did, very, very quick on it, the Canadian racer. Loves his time in the Ferrari Challenge, and great to see him back for another year. Eric Chung is looking very lively here, and from P3 is going to be one to very much keep an eye on. The graphics on the left-hand side of your screen are actually wrong, and now they're corrected because Eric Chung is in P3 ahead of Claudio Schiavone as they cross the timing line, and the transponders reset. So up the inside there goes the 144 car of Vladimir Hladek, getting past Christian Kinch in the number 128 car. There's Eric Prinot, who's being followed by Tanny Hanna at the moment. Now, Eric Prinot has been a really... Whoa, and Tanny Hanna getting very sideways there. Eric Prinot has been one of the mainstays of the Coppa Shell, and very, very quick indeed. And speaking to his partner Monica earlier in the day, and he's not feeling too well this weekend, which is why his pace is not what we would expect to see from Eric Prinot. Replay of the start then, and you can see from... as they go downhill, and that was when Rick Lovett was making his move down the middle of the pack. And Von Skeltermar following suit as well, and Claudio Schiavone was really rather being mugged on the outside. And that's where the contact occurred. And thankfully, the cars that followed took good and quick and decisive avoiding action. Race leader now has some 1.3 seconds of a margin over Rick Lovett in P2. There's Vladimir Hladek then, making good as well, up into P8. And there's Manuel Agosna getting past the 178 car of Peter Gerk. Hadaruglu there, with Vladimir Hladek on the inside. Murat runs out really, really wide. Christian Kinch maybe going to be able to take advantage of that as well. No, not quite. So wasn't able to be yet another beneficiary of that move. So Christian Kinch then in the number 128 car, currently running in P9. And there is Hadaruglu, who is now being hounded by that Christian Kinch car. So Johnny Lawson for Formula Racing then is our race leader. And as I mentioned just a few moments ago, a very comfortable margin he has of some 1.5 seconds. Just on 7 minutes of the race done and dusted. Rick Lovett and Eric Chung running P2 and P3. Sound of this fantastic 488 car. Looking further down the order, there is the 100 car. A drive-through penalty for car number 161, Thomas Gosner. So Thomas Gosner gets a drive-through penalty. Can only think that was potentially for a jump start, because I've seen no other incident on screen that would suggest that Thomas Gosner has fallen foul of race officials. So just being advised of that on our timing screens as we watch Tanny Hanna here in a battle with Tommy Lindroth. And Tommy Lindroth through on the inside. Tommy Lindroth now finds himself in P11. Well, Thomas Gosner is already in the pit lane, I can see from our timing screen. Murat Hadaruglu still with Christian Kinch behind. And now Christian Kinch is turning the wick up once again. Murat really having to defend through that turn. Deborah Mayer in car number 108, who is the leader in the Ladies' Cup at the moment, by dint of her running in P14. But Manuela Gosner, another lady racing in this, is one car behind, but some 9 seconds behind. So Deborah Mayer then leading the ladies category in the Ferrari 488 Challenge. And well, Johnny Lawson really has checked out, hasn't he? Rick Lovett, of course, has had to have a weather eye on his rearview mirror because Eric Chung has never been far away, and Claudio Schiavone runs in P4. So there is Rick Lovett. That in the middle of your screen now is Eric Chung, another long-time driver in the Ferrari Challenge, and delighted with the new 488 car for this year. As I mentioned right at the start of the program, it's the first time that power plant has had the addition of a turbo. And talking to some of the drivers, the style of driving has really had to be honed to take advantage of the turbo. So 3/10 between Rick Lovett and Eric Chung in that battle for P2. 2 seconds up the road is our race leader, Johnny Lawson. Did all the hard work really in qualifying by putting the car on pole position. On board with Eric Chung now as he chases down Rick Lovett, who, as I said, scythed through the rows like a hot knife through butter right at the very start of the race to find himself in P2, which is the position being chased now by Eric Chung. Using the paddle shift sequential gearbox, as you can see, really pushing that car hard, and also trying to push Rick Lovett into making a mistake. Rick was a bit scrappy there and a bit wide, and that's allowed Eric Chung to get ever closer. Will Eric have a go going into turn 1? It's not the easiest place to overtake because you're running downhill, and the problem there for the number 100 car of Tina Koch, perhaps? No, seems to be back up to speed again. So whether Tina had just had a little moment, perhaps, but is back okay now, driving for Formula Racing. You can see the engineers on board the pit perch in constant communication with drivers that are out there. Claudio Schiavone then in car number 102, running in P4. He was new into the Ferrari Challenge last year, the last year of the 458 Evo machine, and had such a good time of it. I remember having a nice chat with him and Deborah Mayer at World Final event last year in Daytona, and already then had placed the order for the 488 and was absolutely committed to being in the challenge for another year. Car 160 being advised to respect track limits, and here we can see the battle between Murat Kuhadaroglu and Christian Kinch. The car number 160 is that of Johnny Lawson, who is leading now. He, of all people, should be able to respect the track limits because he's not being hounded by anyone, and he's certainly not chasing anyone, but just keep our eyes on that. So whatever Christian Kinch at the moment has been able to throw at Murat Kuhadaroglu, he's not been able to find a way past, and now Tommy Lindroth is trying to buy into that battle as well. Tommy Lindroth is running in P11, Christian Kinch is P10, Murat Kuhadaroglu is P9. And now all over the back of Rick Lovett is Eric Chung. Claudio Schiavone there in the number 102 car is running P4. Here comes the gap between the two of them. And that was something we didn't see live, which was Eric Chung and Rick Lovett getting ever closer. Eric just having to control a little bit of oversteer there, as you can see, by piling on the opposite lock to drift the car around, getting towards half distance. And I'm told by all the drivers that once the tyres start to degrade, they stay in a certain area, and once the degradation has happened, that's kind of where they stay. They stabilise, and suspect after the first half of the race, the grip level that the tyres offer will remain fairly constant now towards the end of the race. But undoubtedly that move by Eric Chung didn't pay off, and it's also meant that he's some 6/10 down on Rick Lovett now, just under 6/10 as you can see, 0.586. Lawson in the meantime 3 seconds up the road, and that's an off in car number 178, Peter Gerk, onto the gravel, but has managed to get the car back out again. So Eric Chung goes for take 2 in the overtake on Rick Lovett, perhaps. As he pushes hard, we're on board with him now. Oh, our onboard camera's not liking the rumble strips from Eric Chung's excursion out to those. Slightly tighter through that, as you can see, than Rick Lovett, who was much smoother and on the tarmac. Means Eric Chung has got a bit of a run on him here. That turn is taken absolutely flat, hard on the brakes. Back on the power again, using that sequential gearbox. That was fantastic to be on board watching that. And Eric Chung is all over the back of the 112 car, and there his team, Formula Racing, on their pit perch. So this is the closest battle out there at the moment. It is for P2 in the race, between the Canadian racer Rick Lovett and Eric Chung there in the number 198 car. So Rick at the moment is not bowing to the pressure. This is where we lose track limits sometimes, and Eric Chung certainly with all 4 wheels off then, as he carries just a little bit more speed through that turn 14, the Adrian Campos turn. Top speed for Chung then 250 kilometers per hour. Wide outside now, trying to get a little bit more momentum from the exit of turn number 1. Rick Lovett is wide, Eric Chung goes through, but now on the switchback, Rick Lovett very clever there. Whoa, that is a real sideways moment from Eric Chung as he tries to control the back end in a drift there. Oh, fantastic to watch this battle between P2 and P3 at the moment. Claudio Schiavone, I suspect, is just sitting back thinking, you know what, I'm just going to take over when these two come together. So carrying much too much speed, it was never going to work. And then when he gives it a footful, look at that. Absolutely brilliant sideways driving, Eric Chung. Super slow-mo as the back end of the car steps out. Unfortunately, the fastest way around the circuit is most definitely not sideways. And what that's done is given Rick Lovett just a little bit of breathing space, hasn't it? Has it brought Eric Chung back into the clutches of Claudio Schiavone? A possibility here, so we will keep an eye on that. All of a sudden, the battle for P2 might suddenly become the battle for P3. In the meantime, further back down the order, Von Skeltermar quietly going about his business in P5. There you can see the familiar red livery of Von Skeltermar has gone away, but the familiar sharpened shark's teeth on the front of the car remain the same, and we're on board with him now as he screams across the timing line. And this downhill section going into turn number 1. Braking at the very last moment, you can hear the brakes squealing under protest and the rubber trying to give way as well. They carry so much speed through there. It'd be great if we could stay on board for the entire lap with Von Skeltermar to see and hear. And you can see then the back end of the car just stepping out in the Von Skeltermar car. Now he's got Herney for company, who's running in P6. Christoph Herney driving for a new team, the Zenith Scion team. So all of a sudden, Skeltermar, there is just 4/10 between Skeltermar in P5 and Herney in P6. 12.5 minutes of the race remain. The race that is being led by Johnny Lawson by some 3.7 seconds. So Lawson, Lovett, Chung, Schiavone, Skeltermar, Herney, Hladek, Prinot, Kuhada Ruglu and Kinch occupying the top 10. Tommy Lindroth just outside the top 10 at the moment. So now Fons Skeltermar really is under pressure because he has not only the Christoph Herney car, but also Vladimir Hladik breathing down the neck of the Netherlands-based driver 177 Fons Skeltermar. And we're back on board with him now. What this is doing is compromising Fons' attempt to get up the road to Claudio Schiavone, and he's run very wide there through turn 14, but is able to maintain the pace. But now, here comes Herney alongside Fons Skeltermar. Yes, they touch. The door mirrors just touch. Now Herney will carry more speed through here. Runs out wide, and here comes Vladimir Hladik as well. Whether Fons has got just slight damage to that car now. No, the pace is still there, so Fons has lost out on 2 places. Now comes back on Vladimir Hladik. They are side by side, and Fons says, I've lost 1 place, I'm not prepared to lose 2, and comes back, runs out onto the gravel now. They are side by side again. This is the battle that is going on for what is P6 now. Christoph Herney is able to escape up the road because Fons is having to spend his time defending against the 144 car, the Vladimir Hladik Baron service car. And here is that's the initial contact. You can see it's just door mirrors that touched there. Well, for my money, Herney did very, very well to scrub off the speed going through turn 1. And this was Fons coming back on Vladimir Hladik. So Vladimir Hladik then in the 144 car, super slow-mo replay of that. And Hladik is not letting Fons get away, that's for sure. We're into the final 10 minutes of the race, so 2/3 of the race done and dusted. And right, here comes Vladimir Hladik then on Fons Skeltermar going into turn number 1. Now, if he carries too much speed here and runs too far out wide, Fons should be able to come back at him, but you know what? I think he's got the job done. So Vladimir Hladik then moves himself up another position. And finds himself now in P6. Fons Skeltermar relegated to P7. Fons, of course, who we heard from right at the beginning of the program, and there's the Vladimir Hladik into turn 1. Just able to control the running car from running too wide and allowing Fons Skeltermar to come back and get underneath him. However, Fons has not given up yet, as you can see. He's back on the back of the 144 car. In the meantime, Christoph Herney is able to open up a couple of seconds gap over those that are fighting behind, which is what we see center screen right now. And it is the battle for P6 in the race that's being led by Johnny Lawson. Okay, let's hear some team radio now.
Early, 20 minutes to go. Try.
Not sure that told us a heck of a lot, but it was good to hear nonetheless. So there's Christoph Herney then, who is running in P5. Vladimir Hladik now trying to chase him down, and Fons Skeltermar is now finding himself in P7. We've got 8 minutes of the race remaining. The race being led by Johnny Lawson, who's continuing to be quick through all sectors. Rick Lovett is matching through Sector 1. Has never really been able to crunch down that 3.2 second margin that Johnny Lawson has built since finding himself in the lead of the race. It's really, right from the very start, his pole position. Is it going to be a pole to flag victory for this man, Johnny Lawson, who's never looked threatened, truthfully? Although, once again, he is being advised to respect track limits. Now, this would be absolutely terrible as we see the spinning car there. And that looks like the David Lim car. spun around. Now, what I was saying about track limits, this is the second warning that we're seeing on our message screen about Johnny Lawson respecting the track limits. And there you can see him not respecting the track limits. Now, part of that is the degradation of the tyres, as Lim is shown the blue flag to let faster drivers through. Part of it is the fact that the tyres are, you know, they've done just more than 2/3 of the race, and therefore the grip level that they offer at 2/3 of the race rather than at the start of the race is always going to be less. And this is the fight for the Ladies' Cup between Deborah Mayer and Manuela Gostner. So part of Johnny Lawson's problem in track limits is grip. Race control would say, well, you know, you've got 3.5 seconds up the road, take your foot off a little bit. But right, let's get back to this battle then, which is for the ladies' race. Now, it's the battle for P14 in the race overall, but Deborah Mayer has led the ladies' race since Manuela Gostner's turnaround, which came on the opening lap. And now Manuela Gostner has, well, it was a huge gap between Deborah Mayer and Manuela Gostner, so Deborah has clearly not quite got the pace that Manuela Gostner has got. It's a question of when, not if, that the overtake perhaps is going to come here. Manuela Gostner celebrating her birthday yesterday, also doing a lot of racing this year. And the more track time she gets, the more confident she is. And she's a feisty, good racer in any event. Deborah Mayer doing her level best to defend here. It is for track position, but it's also, more importantly, for the honours of being up on the podium for the ladies' race as well. And at the moment, Deborah Mayer is the leading lady, but here comes Manuela Gostner, determined to wrestle that ladies' P1 position away. As I mentioned, it's P14 and 15 in the race. And just look how close the two 488s are together here. What's interesting is it's Deborah Mayer, Manuela Gostner, and then it's Manuela's father, Thomas Gostner, who is behind. Oh, and then with a more decisive exit from that turn, but Deborah Mayer was able to carry enough momentum to be able to see off the challenge. Super slow-mo replays here. Manuela Gostner hard at work in the car. She'll be furious that turnaround happened right at the start of the race. That was with Peter Gerk, you will recall, into the final 5 minutes now. Heading down towards turn number 1. Is Manuela going to try and dive up the inside here through turn 1? It's not the fastest way around to turn 1. Deborah Mayer through the speed trap at 251 kilometers per hour. Phenomenal pace. And being pushed along by Manuela Gostner, who's right behind. Manuela, of course, as we see, Tommy Lindroth has gone around. That's Tanny Hanna just managing to avoid, I think. So Tommy Lindroth has gone around. Back to this battle. It's for the ladies' honours, for the Ladies' Cup, which is a separate cup that's run within the Coppa Shell category. There's the race itself, then there's the Gentleman's Award and also the Ladies' Award as well. There's our race leader, Johnny Lawson. Again, running wide off of turn number 14. It'd be absolutely disastrous, wouldn't it, if there was a penalty issued for track limits right towards the end of the race. He's got some 4.5 seconds over Rick Lovett, who Eric Chung has quietly come back at Rick Lovett now. We're going to see in the final 3.5 minutes of this race, we're going to see a determined effort from Eric Chung to try and find himself P2 rather than P3. We're on board with the Formula Racing driver now. Canadian racer Rick Lovett is ahead in P2, driving for Cassel, the Ronnie Cassel run squad. One of the biggest squads here in Ferrari Challenge, along with Formula Racing that this man, Eric Chung, races with. And in the ladies' race then, this in replay as Deborah Mayer runs out wide. Manuela Gostner says thank you very much, comes through. Now Deborah Mayer probably braking at that point to avoid the slow Tommy Lindroth. So, and now you can see just how much pace up the road Manuela Gostner has got. Don't know whether there was contact there between Deborah Mayer and Tommy Lindroth, potentially, but we know that Tommy Lindroth had gone around, and now Manuela Gostner is leading in the ladies' race. And Tommy Lindroth has actually stopped in the pit lane, so 2 minutes left. Rick Lovett is P2. And Eric Chung. Whoa! Eric Chung trying to avoid the backmarking number 100 car. Has to go out so wide. The number 100 car of Tina Koch, another one of the lady racers. Now that might have just done for Eric Chung in terms of him trying to wrestle away P2. I think we're potentially going to get 2 more laps here. I think they crossed the timing line just to give us enough time for 2 more laps, so maybe. And Claudio Schiavone now is on the back of Eric Chung. Claudio Schiavone would love to be on the podium in this, the opening round of the Ferrari Challenge for Coppa Shell. I feel that he worked really hard in qualifying and was really rather mugged right at the start of the race. Be hoping, if he can, to find a way past Eric Chung over these final 2 laps to find himself up on the podium. But for my money, Chung looks too quick, and he's again after Rick Lovett here, who really hasn't put a foot wrong since his phenomenal start. So that was Chung then. Fair play to Tina Koch then in the number 100 car. She didn't move, and it was probably Eric's decision to go outside to try and gain a slight advantage, but ended up not working out that way. Johnny Lawson then, 7.2 seconds up the road. The incident involving Tanny Hanna and Tommy Lindroth will be investigated after the race. So it was Tommy Lindroth and Tanny Hanna getting together that we saw the Tommy Lindroth car turned around. So this then will become the final lap, I would suggest. And Eric Chung through the speed trap then at 250 kilometers per hour, but I fear it's not going to be enough for him to get on terms with Rick Lovett and try and wrestle away that P2 position. He's had various valiant efforts at trying to go from P3 to P2, but it just hasn't happened. And you know, a couple of those have been hugely entertaining for us as he's had to power slide the car through various turns. Johnny Lawson then making his debut in the Ferrari Challenge in the 488. And has some 7 seconds margin right at the front. He's untroubled. In fact, the only problem he's had has been with regards to track limits, which the race stewards have kept an eye on. But he certainly hasn't had to have his race compromised, perhaps by being slowed, getting past back markers. He's fairly clear track ahead of him. He's going around turn 12 now, and that will be the long sweeping turn 13, which he starts now before the heavy braking for the left-hander, which is the final turn where he has had track limits issues, it has to be said, and well, this time he didn't. As he heads towards the checkered flag, the win is going to go the way of Johnny Lawson. He takes the win. P2 will go the way of Rick Lovett. He crosses the line now. Eric Chung takes P3. P4 is Claudio Schiavone. Alessandro Balzan in the garages there watches on. There's Christoph Herney. It should be Vladimir Hladek taking P6. Von Skeltermar is P7. Eric Prinot. Very quiet for Eric Prinot, who is not feeling as well as he would like. He takes P8. Murat Kuhadaroglu then should finish P9 ahead of Christian Kinch, who will round out P10. And the winner in the ladies' races is going to be this young lady, Manuela Gosner, who she rounds turn 14. She's been pointing in the wrong direction right at the start of the race, but now got the car very much in the right direction and finishes P13 overall, but wins in the ladies' cup racing. So great result for Manuela Gosner. Von Skeltermar ended up P7, but there is our race winner. Johnny Lawson in car number 160 takes the win. Rick Lovett then in 112 takes P2. P3 goes the way of Eric Chung. P4 then to Claudio Schiavone, who, bear in mind, was on the front row right at the start of the race. P5 to Christoph Herney, another new driver into the Ferrari Challenge. P6 for Vladimir Hladek, in car number 144, the Baron Racing driver. And P7, as I mentioned, for Fons Geltemar. So we're on board with Eric Chung then. Hopefully Eric Prenot will feel maybe a little bit better tomorrow. So we're used to seeing Eric right at the front of the pack, it has to be said. Fair play to him for being out there. Eric Chung then, P3. Cars making their way down the pit lane and towards Parc Fermé. Manuela Gosner, as I mentioned, P13 in the race overall, but takes the Ladies' Cup honours ahead of Deborah Mayer, who finished P14 in the race, 10 places behind Claudio Schiavone. Congratulations to Johnny Lawson there from the Formula Racing team. Eric Chung, great race from him. He's tried very, very hard. In the end, it just wasn't to be. And there, likeable Canadian Rick Lovett, lovely guy for Kessel Racing. He'll be up on the podium. Good sight down the pit lane then. So, we're listening there to Rick Lovett. So the 488, and there is Manuela Gosner, winner of the ladies' race. So the conversation there, inter-family, between Manuela and Corinna Gosner. Right, classification then. Lawson, Lovett, P1, P2. Then it was Chung, Schiavone, Herney, Hladek, Skeltemar, Prenot, Kuhada-Ruglu, and Christian Kitch rounding out the top 10. It's the first page of our classification screen. Rick Lovett is the quickest of the gentleman races as well. And then it was Ingvar Madsen, Tanny Hanna, Manuela Gosner, Deborah Mayer, Thomas Gosner, Peter Gerk, Tina Koch, Tommy Lindroth, and David Lim. So we will be going up to the podium next. And, well, Johnny Lawson is going to be on the top step. So our view down onto the podium, as you can see. Of course, just looking at the two Canadian flags there, Eric Chung is registered as a Canadian driver as well. So Johnny Lawson is P1, Rick Lovett P2, Eric Chung P3. In Parc Fermé then, the car's looking great. Manuela Gosner going to be up on the podium as well for taking the ladies' honours. Pirelli tyre engineers there. Interesting hair there, friend. Permed for the occasion. That's it. Be in trouble for that one. Well, that's interesting. It wasn't Tanny Hanna that was involved with Tommy Lindroth. It was actually Ingvar Mattsson. So a correction to our message screen. It's Ingvar Mattsson and Tommy Lindroth that will be investigated. Tanny Hanna was nothing to do with it. So, as the local Spanish disco has fired into life and plays out some Spanish beats, there's von Skeltermar. And the podium is readied and Eric Chung makes his way out. There's Rick Lovett. And Johnny Lawson then. And Manuela Gosner will make her way out onto the podium as well. Look at that, she's delighted, quite rightly. Well, Johnny Lawson, not only racing driver, but national anthem conductor as well, as Mr. Antonello Coletta then. Head of Ferrari GT Sporting Activities, making the trophy presentations. First of all to Eric Chung, then to Rick Lovett. And, of course, to our race winner, stand by, Johnny Lawson. First victory, season 2017 in Coppa Shell, goes to Johnny. They, of course, are then the Formula Racing team received trophy, and ladies' trophy to go the way of Manuela Gosner. But just before that, it's gentlemen before ladies, as Rick Lovett receives his gentleman trophy. And Manuela Gosner, Coppa Ladies race winner. Pleased with that. So they'll all pose for photographs before the champagne is liberally sprayed across the podium, and it will be liberally sprayed because it doesn't need to be cleaned until tomorrow now. And Manuela's champing at the bit, look, to get to the champagne. Eric Chung reduces his height to make for the photos. Manuela's going to be quickest with the champagne here, I think. Look at that, Lovett doesn't even move. It just stands there like a powered fire extinguisher. So some dramatic images from P3 to P1 in Coppa Shell. So the 1, 2, 3, and Stand by then, let's take a little quick snapshot of the highlights of race 1. What a fantastic emotive shot there. Manuela Gosner and Corinna Gosner embracing at the end of the race. In the Drivers' Championship there, Johnny Lawson, by dint of his victory, wins here at Valencia. And he's on 22 points. Rick Lovett is P2 in the points. Eric Chung is P3. Claudio Schiavone, Herney, then Hladik, Skeltermar, Prinot, Kuhada-Ruglu. And then the rest of the Drivers' Championship, as you can see. Another race for the Coppa Shell cars to come tomorrow. Also Trofeo Pirelli. So race 1 in both Trofeo Pirelli and Coppa Shell is done and dusted. Thank you so much for watching. Please join us tomorrow.